As reported by Pavlo Kyrylenko, the head of the Donetsk Regional Military Administration, 5 people were killed on September 27 by Russian bombardments in Donetsk region. Russian shells killed 4 people in Kurakhove and 1 in Bakhmut. After the full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine began, Donetsk region has had 895 people killed and 2,267 wounded. It is currently impossible to determine the accurate number of victims in Mariupol and Volnovakha. Early on September 28, the Russians struck a school in Mykolaiivka, Donetsk region, that had a shelter for civilians, said Pavlo Kyrylenko, the head of the Donetsk Regional Military Administration. The attack, allegedly by an S-300 missile, was carried out at about 5 in the morning. There were 12 people in the shelter at the time, including 2 children and a handicapped person, Mr. Kyrylenko posted. The walls collapsed, but luckily the shelter survived the attack. The people who were hiding inside were not hurt. We still have no information about one person working in the school. The search is ongoing, Mr. Kyrylenko added. What is more, at night on September 28, the Russian military shelled settlements in Mariinska and Svitlodarska Hromada, Avdiivka, Krasnohorivka, Donetsk, Slovyansk and Kramatorsk also came under fire. The Russian armed forces barraged Slovyansk and Kramatorsk again. No one was killed or injured. According to the Kramatorsk City Council, the Russians launched missiles on Kramatorsk industrial zone. Vadim Lyakh, the head of the Slovyansk City Military Administration, said that cottages on Ryleeva and Volkovska streets were damaged. Late on September 27, Russian troops attacked Kharkiv's Holodnohirsky district with 3 missiles. No one was injured. The Regional State Emergency Service reported early on September 28 that the strike caused 2 fires. 3 missiles hit infrastructure facilities. In one case, an electric transformer caught fire. On another side, the missiles destroyed a production company's building that also caught fire. The fire area was 300 square meters, the emergency service reported. Valentin Reznichenko, the head of the Regional Military Administration, announced that on the night of September 28, Russian troops shelled Nikopolsky district of the Dnipropetrovsk region with BM-21 and heavy artillery. According to him, Nikopol was hit 3 times. In the city, more than 10 high-rise and private buildings, a lyceum, a bus stop, gas pipelines and 6 power lines were mutilated. Almost 8,000 families were left without electricity. In Marhanes Hromada, the consequences of the hits are being clarified. Rescuers and police are on the scene. There are no casualties or injuries. In the morning, the Russian military launched 3 S-300 missiles at the city center of Gulypole. A building that had the status of a historical monument is ruined. Road surface was damaged. Information about the injured is being clarified. Alexander Staruch, the head of Zaporizhia Regional Military Administration, said. In the photo that survived after the explosion, Viktor Kasyanov is with his daughter Natalka. In the afternoon of September 26, rescuers retrieved the body of a 13-year-old girl from under the rubble. A Russian Iskander missile hit 5 meters from the house. The video was published by the mayor. Who did we disturb here? We lived normally, everything was calm. Did my family bother anyone? They killed. Why did they hit here? At the time of the explosion, Victor was at work, as was his mother Tetiana, a saleswoman in a store 100 meters away. Grandfather stayed with his granddaughter. He was found dead near the garage, and great-grandmother, she and Natalka were sorting beans in the kitchen. The elderly woman also died. My mother called me. She said, "Tanya, the bag has already been sorted. We are starting the second one." I say, "Mother, get rest and then continue." The girl had a disability. She could not speak well. She studied remotely at a specialized school, Tetiana says. We did physical education with her. We had to send her to a boarding school for her to do a physical education. In 1 second, everything disappeared. My relatives are gone. There is no yard. Nothing. Nearby, another house was destroyed. The windows and roofs of 2 others were broken. Anton Orekhov, first deputy mayor, says that the residents refused the temporary housing offered by the city hall. The city does not have such funds to restore buildings and everything else. We record war crimes, reports which we will then provide for reparations. We understand that one day we will win and compensate for the losses from the aggressor state. According to Orekhov, this was the first attack on Pervomaisky since midsummer and the first during the entire war in which civilians were killed.